Hello and welcome to Talking Dogs on a Monday. Of course, today we are talking all things Bar 1 Racing Irish Laurels from Curraheen Park. It's really turned into an exceptional competition. We have a wonderful, wonderful decider to look forward to on Saturday night. Before then, we are going to reflect on the two tremendous semi-finals from Curraheen last Saturday evening. I'm joined as always by the exiled dub Tommy Lyons. And of course, we have a representation from the sponsors themselves, Kieran Burke. No stranger to picking out a winner or two. As you can see, he's double jobbing. He's in the studio this morning, Kieran, so we won't keep you too long. But firstly, from a sponsor's point of view, you must be delighted the way this Laurels is going.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Ian. It's been a brilliant competition. We've been getting headlines nearly every week, really. Of course, we've had the track record equal during the competition. We have the subplot, I suppose, of the Clifford's involvement with Solo and Goal. So great to see him in the final. And Ballymac Satanta still unbeaten. So I think this is the dream final, really, that we were looking for. And we've been given it as well, which is great.
Yeah, Tommy, we sort of said last week that the quality was really starting to come to the fore, and basically, if you look at the prices of the two semi-finals, like we may have lost Droopy's Patriot, who was odds on for the first semi-final and unanimously on the second heat. He was a 7-4 chance, second favourite in the second heat. But just look at the six dogs that have gone through. Like there's real quality there.
Look at you always worry looking at a competition like this that if you lost three or four names, well, what would it do to it? We didn't until the semi-finals effectively, and that's and then so I mean you've got a Project Ace winner, you've got Magical on Fire and Proven Bitch who broke in 29 or 28 seconds, and you have three Liam Dowling dogs at 1, 2, and 3, and then importantly Michael Wren who has a few greyhounds, he does very well with them. Trina's Tribe in there, which is it's a different element, but it's an important element of the final. So like I mean, if you asked me at the start and you said to me, "Look, this is it's going to end up with these six in the final," I'd say, "Great, bring it on. Looking forward to that." It is a cracking race, and you know what? A couple of little things happened in the semi-finals we talked about, and made a huge difference to the races, but it didn't affect the fact that we have a brilliant final ahead. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that next Saturday night now.
Yeah, it was exceptional racing at Curraheen on Saturday night. Like this from start to finish, some exceptional displays from pups, from the bitches, just throughout the card. Of course, we also had the Bartley Memorial semi-finals, two wonderful heats to get stuck into there. But let's get back to the Laurels, Kieran. From the start, you always kept Solo Go on the right side, and here he is in Trap One, the Laurels final, and he remains favourite.
Yeah, joint favourite 6-4 with Ballymac Satanta ahead of the final on Saturday night. I suppose it's been a bit of an up and down competition for Solo and Go. He was a bit lucky to get through in week one when he finished fourth, but he didn't have much luck in running on week one. He won his second round heat in very good style, and he's been second the last twice, but he has been drawn in four the last twice, so he's got the draw he wants in stall one. So I'm sure all the connections are delighted with that. But he was beaten by Ballymac Satanta in the quarterfinals. Ballymac Satanta, as we said, equaling the track record during the competition as well. So two big players on the inside, and it's going to be ferocious. I think the battle for the lead to the first bend, because Ballymac Brandon's drawn in two as well, and he's had a couple of heat victories where he led every single bend, so he's going to want to be right up there early on. So you never know. Some of those greyhounds on the outside at bigger prices, if they can stay out of a bit of trouble, you wouldn't know what had happened at that first bend. So it's an intriguing final, but coming out with the traps to start and the battle for the lead to the first bend, that's going to be all important this final, I think.
Yeah, on the draw, Tommy. Like we'll get into the semi-finals now in a moment, but on the draw, it's the bookends that really do stand out. Solo and Go, great draw on the fence, and obviously Lemon Joey with Trina's Tribe. We've mentioned a couple of times in recent weeks. That was the one dog ahead of the draw where people were going, "Oh my God, just don't want to be in the inside of Trina's Tribe." It is Magical on Fire, but she is such a natural starter. She might be okay, but there is only one direction Trina's Tribe is going, which means Lemon Joey has a very strong chance of claiming a second career classic.
Yeah, big time. I mean, if you were to say that Lemon Joy's connections, you're the middle seed. What do you want in the final? You might say, well, the middle seed, I want maybe three or four. But actually, the next best thing you can get is trap six with a railer in five. I mean, it offers him the entire. He get the outside of track to himself, but actually, he's been running so well. In like the
Mm.
fact that Trina tried goes left or doesn't really matter to him. That was an exceptional performance in the semi final the other night, and I think he's got better during the competition. I think I fancied him one night there. Second was the second round maybe. Yeah, he'd be
Yeah.
blast off Hefo, and it was a decent heat, but it wasn't a brilliant heat.
Yeah.
And actually, the harder the tasks have come for him, the better he's performed. Even behind Magical on Fire the previous week, he actually ran a cracking race. Like he ran a brilliant race in defeat. So, um, he's definitely a player. He's definitely a player in the final. And plus, one of the most important things you know, you're talking any form in any sport, is proven in classic company, proven in that makes such a difference. It really does. And he's the one that is in the final. Curiously enough.
Yeah. You look at his clocks through the competition, he had his first run in Cork in the opening round, 28:33,
Mm.
28:22, 28:13, 28:09. Like, it's only going one direction. Who's to say he won't do 28 seconds this Saturday night from the front? Kieran, has there been good business as regards, punters getting stuck in, or have you found it sort of a bit cagey?
No, there's been a lot of interest from the get-go, particularly in solo and go. I think a lot of people have latched on to the story with the Clifford brothers there, and solo and go has been well backed, and we've taken a couple of big bets before the semi-final. I'm sure we'll take some big bets this week as well. So these prices may change by the time people are listening, but at the moment it's 6-4 your pick solo and go, and Ballymax at hand. But I think Tommy is right there. I think there could be carnage at the first bend in this final. So Lemon Joey has a big chance in six at a price of 4-1 there.
hmm Let's talk about the two semi-finals. Obviously, Ballymac you said it a couple of times, Kieran. He remains unbeaten. He is the track record holder, and he was the one dog that broke the 28-second barrier on Saturday night at Curraheen, 27.99. This was this was a this was him at his very, very best again. His sectional was back a couple of lengths from the previous week, Tommy, but it was over pretty early. Once he cleared the corner, that was that.
He's 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 genuinely a remarkable dog for the reason that he gets what you find. You look at a tricky draw, and you say, "Oh, there's early pace around him. He doesn't really break. He's not drawing trap one. You're going to have to. He's going to struggle. He might get knocked out. He could this, and yet every night he's just managed to do something unbelievable. He's actually, I think, isn't he? Is he unbeaten in seven runs over 525 at this stage? I'd say
Yeah, when he went unbeaten through the stake in Limerick, that's right. Yeah, so
yeah.
he's 7 from 7
So
over.
he's
Right,
like
yeah.
he's found a way. We wanted to take him on the other night because Droopy Patriot was in one. We thought you know what, he'd have to do things right. If you told me prior to the Heat Saturday night, if you said to me this is the section he'll do 3:30, what was this, 8?
Yeah.
I'd say, oh, he's in a whole heap of trouble on Saturday night. And yet he managed to get out and around comfortably in front and won impressively. Like he stays well as well. Magical on Fire got running behind him, not really gaining on him in a significant way. Now I would say the complexion of the race changed very quickly. The first
hmm
few strides, Druppy's Patriot, something slightly faltered. If you watch it, I think it's about 3 strides in, slightly faltered, and that made all the difference to the race. I mean, that's how tight this racing is at this level, around a speed track like Curraheen Park, something so small. We all thought when I wanted to take on Trap One won, and when I wanted to be with Trap One got beaten.
Yeah.
That's just the way it's been. The way it's been.
That could
But
be
if
the
you watch the
nature
race
on Curraheen
closely,
Park. That's what it is. It's a case of whether you want to take on Trap One or go with it. That seems to be the
I,
case.
I mean, I'm assuming I didn't ask Kieran yet, but I'm assuming whoever did the draw anyway has been fired since Saturday night. Solo and Go gets Trap One. I mean, I was talking to Connection over the last 2 weeks, and they said, "Look, we've bad draw again. We've bad draw again. Doesn't matter. We're due a good draw. If we get to the final, if we get Trap One, we'll be happy." And that's all they wanted. So it's going to make for an intriguing racing. Magical on Fire, maybe. I'd say if somebody was looking in from the outside, they say, you're not really giving her the credit she deserves. You're 28-18 or 27-89 the previous week, and cracking run in defeat again the other night. But I'm respecting her. I'm just there's so much pace in this race. I
Yeah,
mean, imagine your classic final, and you've Liam Dowling in 1, 2, and 3 in the final.
that's remarkable. And that's
Magical on Fire was actually the one I was very sweet on going up to the last couple of rounds. I was on another podcast last week, and I put her up, to be honest. But the draw, I think, is probably really damaged her chances. I know bitches don't have a great record in this competition as well overall, but I just thought she was improving with every round, and that's something I always look out for in these big competitions. If you're improving every round, yeah, they're just coming to the boil at the right time. But I think the draw has probably killed her chances. She's 5-1 there at the minute.
yeah. The
Look,
only thing
she
I'll say
she did
about
her.
the thing about the draw is that we've seen it so often. You go, oh, that's got a terrible draw, and one flying start, and it's out the window, the draw. You know what I mean? You can, because there is a chance of the inside trio getting in each other's way. There's no
Mm.
question about that. And if she does take a flyer, all of a sudden you never know. You know what I mean? It's not a situation where you go, oh, she can't win from there. She most certainly can. The avenue is very, very much there for her, but it means she's going to have to do everything right, and she's going to have to repeat. Like her best ever start was a 3:29 in the previous round. Like she's probably going to need to do a 3:25. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you can't. I don't think you can tally him when you're trying to. I'm with Kieran in this one in the sense that you 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 try to make a case of why a Graham can win it. She can obviously win it because something goes right. But you look at her four. If you're cold about it, 3:38, 3:44, trap one, 3:29, back out on the outside, and even though she broke well, 3:40 is it? So
Yeah.
I mean, her break is really around the high 3:30. That's what you'll be expecting her to do on Saturday night. And that's what's going to get her into trouble if she, if she, the 3:29, because they came from trap one, you're going, well, can she do it from the middle? That trap one is a magical place to be in Curraheen Park, as we've talked about so many times. So, like it's hard to build a case based on all known form. I think it's like I don't know how if you don't have really good early pace or you're going to get the outside or the inside to yourself, you can build a case in a race with so much pace in general, early pace in particular in it. So she's got a tricky draw and she's probably deserved to be a decent price. I mean, if you take a chance when she wins, I mean, Pacquiao Foy is an excellent trainer, so he'll have her absolutely cherry ripe for Saturday night. But I just
Yeah.
can't build a case strong enough to think that I'd want to have a bet on her.
Yeah, I'd agree with Tommy. That best time she done the 27:89, that was when she was drawn one. So I just think the odds are very much stacked against her on Saturday night.
Yeah, listen, again, it's a case of she's going to have to produce her very best. Like I think that's the one thing we're not, I think that's the case with every dog in the final. You know what I mean? And I'm just
Yeah,
saying that it's definitely possible. Yeah, I think we'll all agree on that. But given the fact she's not even double figures, Kieran, what price is she?
fives.
Yeah, fives like that. That tells its tale. And of course, Crafty Shavu won it last year. Remember that wet and horrendous night in Curraheen Park? Tommy, Crafty Shavu made light work of the task. So looking for a second female winner in 2 years. She was brilliant last year for Pat Norris. I'm just wondering, has Pat Guilfoyle won it before?
2022.
Yeah,
Good Cody.
yeah, yeah, is it?
Good
Yeah.
Cody has, yeah. God, I should have known that. Behind them, Magical and Fire and Ballymac was Trina's tribe. As you mentioned it, Tommy, this is the local hope. A 33-1 chance in the semi-final. Another two strides and Blast Off Heffo's probably getting through to another classic final. Just the line came in time for Trina's tribe. And as you say, Cork in particular is very important that there's local representation.
Yeah, hugely, and it's. I even saw yesterday. I was in Mallow, and they had a Cork winner of Sean Allen winning the and Darragh Keefe, of course, riding the winner of the Cork National. And you kind of got the crowd that came around wherever they were hiding all day. I thought, oh, this isn't a great crowd here. The minute the Cork National was over and there was a Cork winner, you want to see the crowd around around the parade ring. It was huge. So they are very parochial and do support their own. So look, it's important that Trina's Tribe is not a winner. I don't think any of us are going to be able to build a case to say why Trina's Tribe is going to win it. But I'll tell you, some performers to get the dog, and he's been running really, really well. I mean,
Yeah,
we've looked at this over the weeks. There have been times where you'd say, there's a strong runner in there that could just have knocked them out of the competition on occasion, and yet nobody did. He still finds a knack of getting through to the next round. So, I mean, deserving of a place in the final. Has been running really well. 33 to 1 the other night, probably 66 next Saturday night, but that doesn't matter. I mean, if that was me, I've never had a dog that's even been close to good enough to be in a Laurels final. So, I mean, they're going to have a great week just thinking about it.
yeah, the sport and the crack. They're pretty tribal down in Cork, Kieran. I'm sure they're pretty tribal up around Dundalk too. Um, but I'd assume that the Bar One shops in around Cork area will be probably registering a few more quid at 50 to 1 or whatever price. What price is Tree in his tribe?
I think it's fitting 33-1, third in every heat. So that's probably the way the traders went there, I think. But no, you're right. Look, it's always a great week down in Cork. The local public really make the event what it is. They come out and they support it in their numbers. And I know last year that the weather wasn't great, so hopefully we'll get a bit more luck on that front this time around and have a massive crowd out there on Saturday night. But yeah, I definitely encourage listeners to pop into a shop and to take a look at the prices, and there might be a few tickets floating about as well. So no harm to
Oh,
call
grand,
into
yeah.
a bar one
Grand,
racing shop down in
they'll
Cork.
be streaming into the shops. They'll be streaming into the shops. In behind them, the three that went out in that heat. Obviously, we've told the tale of Juby's Patriot. Just that stumble, as you said, Tommy. It was probably what it says. Stumble traps in the card. It's about after three strides, and his goose was cooked. he tried his best to get back up into sort of contention on the opening corner, but it just wasn't meant to be. Blast off Effo, just narrowly beaten back in fourth spot, beaten a neck and made to measure. It just didn't happen for him on this occasion. He had a very tricky draw out in five. So we had three talented greyhounds going through, and they would be joined in the next heat by Lemon Joey. I think most were expecting the likes of Unanimous Leo and Solo and Go to be right up there in the in the frame from the very start. But Lemon Joey went up. He went up hard and certainly deserved to. Well, hit the front just as they hit the second bend. He was thereabouts anyway. Ran a great corner and won't going to the front. That was it. 6 lengths, 28.09. Brilliant run.
It was a brilliant run. Now there were about four of them. Maybe there's probably a length and a half maximum covering the whole field at the first bend, which
Mm.
is what you kind of probably possibly weren't expecting. I'm not sure because camera angles and the like, but I'm not sure what happened the first bend. How they swept around the outside, Ballymac Brandon in five and Lemon Joey in six, and how sort of Solo and Go even got around as well. It was all so tight. It was all so tight up front. And had unanimously been another half length forward, it might have been a different race completely. It was that tight. I've struggled with it. Unanimous Leo seemed to did something happen to him? Maybe at the bend, did he get squeezed up badly? Did he get checked or whatever? It's hard to see exactly what happened, but it had a huge impact on the race because as I say, it was like a concertina. It was the three of them, the way and how they fanned out across the track out of the second bend, and you see four, five, and six go, and you're going, I'm not sure how that happened because
Yeah,
that wasn't on the
nine,
bingo card at the first
nine
bend when you
times
see
out
it.
of 10, you expect Lemon Joey to get at least a shunt or
At
you know,
least.
and it could be badly balked on more occasions than not. But it was just, I suppose it's the fact that when you do get these good dogs, they do run a truer and a stronger line. And, unanimously, it probably just got squeezed out. I think Solo and Go was sort of just edging across him. Like he probably was far enough in front to get around if he'd stayed left rather than just
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
for that little extra inch. And by doing that, he sort of nearly encouraged Solo and Go to drive across him, and then all of a sudden he checks across heels and he's
It's
checked off the
it's an
back.
exceptional performance, Ian, to do 28.09
Yeah.
with the way the race was run.
Mm.
It's better than that because you take Lemon Joey out of the race, pretend he wasn't in it, and the rest of them finished the way they did, right? It's a five dog race, and Solon Go wins it by a length, doing 28.51. That's what you kind of think the race was because there wasn't a kind of clear cut out and gone kind of job. But it's why I hate to underestimate him for the final. I think the 28.09 is a massive effort.
Yeah. Solon Go was only third down the back straight, and I remember
Yeah,
looking behind going, this fella could be in trouble yet. He
yeah.
showed great determination to get up the inside of Ballymac Brandon. And then I thought Ballymac Brandon might be in trouble. And he kept on going because, Fay Point Harvey does, like, I know he's been headed a couple of times, but it's generally down the back straight he gets headed because he does stay
Yeah.
right on the line normally. And he didn't come at them, but in fairness to Ballymac Brandon, he dug in to qualify in third, holding off Fay Point Harvey by a half length. I'm somewhat. I suppose the makeup of the race is the reason for it, but I'm somewhat surprised that Lemon Joey's returned 5-1. Kieran, was there any support for him? Are you surprised that he's returned 5-1? Like, what sort of price do you offhand? Do you know what you were beforehand?
I don't know offhand what he was beforehand. No, he's 4-1 for the final now. And look, you've already touched on the draw earlier on that if there's a bit of chaos on the inside, he could be the one to pick up the pieces. He's actually been drawn six in every heat, which is remarkable. So I
Hmm.
suppose he'll know his job really when the trap's open. You have to finish outside of the first two in any of his heats. So I think you're right, lads. He's going to be a massive player in this final.
Yeah, there's been so few seeds in the contest, in the competition. That's the reason for it. Like, there was no wide seed left in the competition, was there? No, no wide seed
No,
left in the
no.
competition. So he was the only middle. He was going to get trap six. That's how that works, and that's how he is in the final. And behind him, Solo and Go, as you say, he had to work hard. He did so. Time is, it doesn't matter a damn, Tommy, in terms of, he's the fighter for our favourite in the heat. It doesn't matter if he's beaten. The fact of the matter is he's after getting through and he's after getting his draw, and we could see a very different proposition on Saturday night.
I think we're going to see the best version of Solon Go on Saturday night. I mean, the night he was beaten by Satanta. If you swap the box that night, put him in one and put Satanta in four. Even though I wouldn't like to say Satanta wouldn't have come out on top somehow because he seems to find a way,
Mm,
it would have been a hell of a race
yeah.
considering the time, considering how tight it was. So he has his draw. Like you, Ian, like I was looking at the race thinking, ooh, we could be in trouble here going down. he could be in real trouble. He drove a brave third bend without getting a clear run along the inside at it, without getting a fully clear run along the inside at it.
Yeah.
Still off the last bend, you're thinking maybe like himself and Brandon were vulnerable. And credit to both of them for particularly Solomon Go for staying on as well as he did to be a length clear of Ballymac Brandon and comfortably into the final. So yeah, I'm expecting a different dog. As I said to you, spoke to connections there a couple of times in the last few weeks, and all they want to do is qualify, and get trap one. And I mean, it's like a dream. It's like exactly how it happened. You couldn't have asked for any better. It doesn't matter now. Looking back now, the rest of the competition, it doesn't matter what trap you're in for any other. He makes no difference whatsoever. You get the final, you got trap one, bingo.
You'd have to ask now whether the sponsors are doing the job right at all, Tommy. Like giving a Kerry dog with such Kerry links, with the Cliffords, with Dowlings, give them trap one in the final of a Laurels. Kieran, surely there's a mistake made somewhere. Like Tommy said it already. Who made the draw, and is he still employed?
I actually don't know who made the draw. That's a good question, but maybe he knew what he was doing, trying to create a few headlines. That's what it's all about from a sponsor's point of view, and I think we'll have plenty of those on Saturday for sure.
There's definitely going to be more people tuning in. I was at I think it may have been a hockey match, it may have been a camogie match, but there was one of the girls that was playing with my daughter. Her grandmother came over to me and said, "Is David Clifford's dog still in the derby?" And he had gone out at that point, and I had to tell her that she was very disappointed, a Kerry woman, and like this is a woman that wouldn't know a dog now if it came up and bit her, that sort of way. And I've no doubt that she'll be tuning in now on Saturday night, cheering for Solo and Go. And from a sponsor's point of view, that's what you want. It's that little bit of spice on top, that little bit of sprinkle, and that's exactly what Solo and Go is providing.
Yeah, 100%. Look, the two lads are absolute superstars, particularly David Clifford. I'd admittedly be more of a soccer man, as they probably call it down there, than a football man. But if there was one player I had to pay an admission to go and watch, it would be David Clifford. He's the Lionel Messi of GA. He's an absolute superstar. I know we've got a couple of really good club and intercounty players here in HQ, and I know they hugely admire David Clifford as well. And one of them has actually come up against him in an All Ireland semi final previously. So I'm sure he'll be an interested viewer on Saturday night as well to see how the Clifford's Greyhound goes. But yeah, no, it's great to have the two lads involved. And I think they were away on their All Ireland winning trip last week, if I'm not wrong. I think somebody
Yeah.
told me that, but I think they're back in time for the final. So we very much hope to see them there.
It's also the fact that he's called Solo and Go, like
Yeah,
with,
brilliant,
with the
brilliant.
advent of the new rules and the Solo and Go
Yeah.
rule. It's just wonderful. It's a great tie-in between the GEA and Greyhound Racing, and there's often been that tie. You know what I mean? Looking ahead to the final, Solo and Go has drawn trap one, as we've said. Ballymac Brandon's in two, Ballymac Satanta three. So Liam Dowling one, two, three. Then we have Magical and Fire for Pat Guilfoyle. Trina's Tribe, as Tommy has already alluded to, for Michael Wren out in trap five. Tricky draw. It will be a big price. And Lemon Joey with that ideal draw in the striped jacket for Mert Lahey and the short back and sides syndicate. Um, we're just waiting on Tommy to come back. But we'll keep going here, Kieran. You've said it there. 6-4 joint favourites, Solo and Go and Ballymac Satanta. It's in a bookmaker's nature. I would imagine by Saturday night you'll have made a favourite.
I have a feeling the public support will probably come for Solo and Go. That's just my own feeling on it. We'll have to see. Ballymac Satanta still unbeaten. People may look at that and feel, he's going to go all the way 5 from 5. So there probably still won't be much to separate them. But I just have a feeling, particularly in the Munster region, that there may be a flood of late money for Solo and Go. But look, it's early on a Monday morning as we're talking here, so we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, you're wearing the red jacket. Solo and Go was wearing the red jacket. And when you wear the red jacket at Curraheen
I'm
Park,
not as quick as Solo and Go, I
I,
can promise that.
I'd suggest you're probably not. Uh, but they do tend to come for the red jacket. And then you add on top of it the fact that it is Solo and Go and the story behind it and what he's capable of. And I would say there's absolutely no doubt that he will start favourite. Now, that doesn't mean I necessarily think he'll win. He's probably the dog to beat from the draw. But we know just how good that certainly a couple of his rivals are. Ballymac Satanta and Lemon Joey, two wonderful semi-final winners, more than capable of doing 28 seconds or better. And that's always, something that has to be kept in mind. Lemon Joey's third in, ahead of Magical on Fire. Lemon Joey 4-1, Magical on Fire 5-1. Am I right?
Yep, you're spot on there.
And then we have Ballymac Brandon. Is he double figures?
No, he's not. He's 7-1, and it's great to see him in the final as well from a sponsor's point of view, because he was fourth in the Bar One Race and Irish Sprint Cup final at Dundalk
Yeah.
earlier in the year. So it's great to see Greyhounds progressing from one competition to another and making the latter stages. He led at every bend in his round 3 victory, won by 2 lengths. That was a very impressive performance. I think I mentioned that earlier, that he's had a couple of all the way successes in round 1 and round 3. So he's going to be absolutely firing out of those traps and looking for the lead at the first bend. So we've mentioned it a few times. It's going to be a ferocious start to this race, and Ballymac Brandon's going to be a big player in that regard. But 7-1 for the outright betting there.
Yeah, himself and his brother, of course, Ballymac Satanta, the two joint youngest finalists, both January 24 whelps. And then we have the outsider of the party, Trina's Tribe. He is the eldest of the finalists, the June 22 whelp. So he's 3.5 years of age now for Michael Wren and the Wren Soul Wallman Syndicate. And 33-1, you said.
Yeah, 33-1, threes all the way throughout the competition. So 33-1. But from what you lads have been saying, maybe not without a chance. So it
No,
might be a few
certainly
each
not.
way bets on that one.
Certainly not. I'm sure there'll be one or two each way bets, as you say, especially down in the Cork region. They do like to shout on their own, and taking on 3 Kerrymen as well. That will add a bit of spice to it as well. Tremendous final, Kieran. I'm going to have to put you on the spot. Where's your money going?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I've been very sweet on Magical on Fire the whole way through, but the draw has probably put me off. Do you know what? I'm going to side with one of the outside dogs here. I'm going to go Lemon Joey in 6. I think there could be carnage at that first bend, and Lemon Joey might pick up the pieces.
Well, let's hope there's not carnage, but let's hope that they all get around safe and sound. But that
Yeah,
Lemon
of
Joey gets
course,
a
of
run
course.
for you on the outside. Very talented Greyhound. Really seems to have taken to Cork. And I suppose when you're coming into a final like this in the form of your career, like that's all Murtlahi can do. Just hope for more.
Yeah, well, look, I've never really been a short price player in any sporting bets that I'd have. 6-4 just wouldn't interest me. So 4-1 about Lemon Joy can certainly have a few pound on that.
Before we let you go, just one or two things. Obviously, be offering prices in the final up to the weekend. It's going to be an unbelievable card. Exceptional racing on the undercard at Curraheen on Saturday night. Semi-finals of a number of competitions. Will you be offering prices in the entire card coming up tonight? It'll be live, obviously, on television. You'll be certainly doing the televised races.
You've put me on the spot there. I'll have to check
Yeah,
that with
yeah.
the traders. I've only just entered the studio here and haven't spoke to anyone yet this morning, to be honest. So we'll have to check that and get back to you. But certainly prices for the final are available in Bar One Racing shops across the country. So do pop into one.
Yeah, well, as you can see, the exiled one is back from his exile. Kieran, thanks very much. Best of luck. I know you won't be there on Saturday night, but you'll be tuning in, and I'm going to let you get back to work.
Thanks very much, Ian. Looking forward to what should be a fantastic final, and hopefully everyone heading along to Curraheen on Saturday night has a great night.
Thanks a million, Kieran. Good luck. Well, Tommy, you've been having gremlins with your computer, but you're back now with us. We spoke to Kieran. He is putting his few quid on Lemon Joey out in trap 6. But looking at the draw, Solo and Go has the draw. He's in the red jacket in the Laurels final. I think that will be enough to secure him favoritism. Apart from the fact that he'll be attracting that little bit extra cash, given the story behind him. But I think the red jacket in Curraheen Park is the most important thing in the Laurels when it's getting so tight into the bend. What are your own thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think the draw is always going to be important here. And when Solo and Go has it, if it had been Ballymac Satanta, I think we'd have a dog that was nicely odds on for the final.
Mm.
As it happens, because of the draw and the fact that I suppose it's a good sign of Ballymac Satanta and how good he is that he's joint favourite despite having a potentially very tricky draw. I mean, never mind Solo and Go in 1. He's got his other kennel companion, in fact, his little brother Ballymac Brandon in 2, and clearing him mightn't be that simple either. I would say he's probably 2-3 lengths shy of Satanta, maybe 4 lengths shy of Satanta at their very best so far in what we've seen. But he still has lovely early pace. And I mean, if you look at his draws in the competition, you swear he's a middle seed or a wide seed. The draws he's had so far, Ballymac Brandon. We might be overlooking the fact that, hold on a second, this dog now might have his draw as well. So
Yeah.
it's Kieran said, like, there could be trouble along the inside. There's so much early pace, and of course there's potential for that, and we hope it doesn't happen. But despite the fact that Solo and Go has trap 1, he has to do it right. He has
Yeah.
to do it fully right, because it's not outlandish to think that Lemon Joey is going to get the run of all time. And I'm telling you, the one thing that struck me about that race the other night, it shouldn't have been 28-09. It should have been 28-39.
Mm.
and it was 28-09. To me, that's a huge effort. So I would respect Lemon Joey. And if there's going to be an upset in it, I think it's not an upset. If there's going to be, something to beat Satanta or Soul and Go, he's the obvious one. I mean, Magical on Fire, I think Kieran said 5-1. Like, couldn't entertain at that price, could you?
No, I think I'd nearly want double it, to be
I would,
honest.
I would
Yeah.
too. I would too. Because I can't like apart from the fact that you have to clear the three dogs on the inside. You've also got Trina's Tribe who'll be going left, but as well as that, if you watch the race again the other night, you watch the race any night with Magical on Fire, she can break, but she's not really getting into the bend like those dogs are, like those specialist early pacers. She's not getting into that bend, and if she doesn't do that, it's hard to see her getting. It's hard to see her getting a run. So I mean, I'd want double. The odds as well. But do I want to back Soul and Go at 6-4? I don't think so. I don't think so. Would you?
I think
Would you back the price?
I think he'd be 6-4. I think he'd be shorter than 6-4 on the night. It doesn't mean I'd completely entertain it. As I said, I think we said it all fair. Ballymac Satanta, there is an avenue for him to win if he's a length behind Solo and Go into the back straight. Whereas if Solo and Go's a length off him, it's only going to be Ballymac Satanta winning. That's the way I
Yeah.
see it. I think Ballymac Satanta probably has more ways of winning than Solo and Go, but that doesn't mean that Solo and Go, like he has the golden path, and he is. Often you see in these draws, you go, oh, well, oh God, that's a great draw on trap one. And they're not necessarily a trap one runner.
Yeah.
Solo Go is very much a trap one runner. He won't move off the rail. Like he won't. We commented earlier in the competition that he's an absolutely dead railer. Certainly off the last bend and home, he stays really tight to the fence. And you'd assume he'll be doing that from the get go.
And the funniest thing is, even though I agree wholeheartedly what you said about Soul and Go probably has to lead, probably to hold, or has to lead, or Satanta can probably come from behind. The funniest thing is that Satanta would be the one that would move slightly off the last bend. Now we're only talking to maybe trap 3, maybe, somewhere like that. It's not going to be swinging wide, but it's just funny that like Soul and Go won't come off the fence. So if Satanta has to come from behind him, he's going to have to do a huge amount of work. I mean, it's a fabulous race, and the funniest thing is there's so little between the top 3, maybe even along the inside, 1, 2, and 3, that it might just mean that anything could happen on the outside. A little bit of bumping. I hope there's no serious trouble in the race. That's what we want.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Relative.
We want a clean corner.
Yeah.
And like, when we say clean corner, like there's going to be rubbing. Like something's not going to find the room they need at the right time. But let's hope that they all get around on their feet and it's a good, strong final. And by all accounts, they're not silly. The inside trio know their job.
Yeah.
They're all pretty true gallopers in terms of they won't cut in or cut out, or they'll keep their line if they have to keep their line. You assume the one dog we know that's got to do something early is Trina's Tribe. That'll definitely edge inwards.
Yeah.
I think that's absolutely given. But again, Magical on Fire can pop out, and if doing so, may well avoid Trina's Tribe. And all of a sudden, then you have 4 dogs on the inside going up strongly, and Lemon Joy on the outside. It can get very, very tight. A cracking final. I think we'll all agree.
Yeah, and I look at I don't know. I've opposed Ballymac Satanta maybe a couple of times, thinking the draw might sway it one way or the other. And yet he's found a way to win. I love that type of dog. So I don't know. So long go him. There's not a lot in it. You go back the way from a form point of view is you go back to the round where they met already, and you go, well, swap the boxes and see what'll happen. What would happen if they both broke the same way as they did that night? So long go would definitely get round in front. But whether it would be far enough in front, like you said, Ian, that's the question. So maybe it does just about favour Soul and Go. Maybe I would just about favour Soul and Go. But I tell you what, I love what Satanta does. I really do. And he is a Derby dog. He absolutely 100% is a Derby dog. I mean,
I actually went looking at the prices there the other day just to see exactly sort of how they are treating him. Yeah. And he's prominent. Like you take out the cheap sandwiches and the Bacchus Diamond of the world, and like he's basically joined third favorite. Well, co-third favorite with about 8 or 10 dogs.
He's around 25-1. Now look at if the last few days didn't teach us that we haven't seen the Derby winner for next year, or we may not have seen the Derby winner for next year yet, or we hadn't seen it until this week. If that didn't teach us that's we're kind of foolish people. I mean, to my mind already, and I know we're going to segue away from the Laurels to the Derby, but to my mind, like I'm not factoring in Buck or Diamond or Cheap Sandwiches for next year. Are you? Like, realistically, like, it's another year.
It's another year. It's very difficult.
No,
We still have to see if Bocco's Diamond returns to his best after an enforced layoff. Cheap Sandwiches, he trialled in 27.80 something in Shelburne Park on Saturday night. Wasn't too bad, but
no, yeah,
he has to be there. He has to be there because
it's another
he's got
year.
a date in the Winter Racing Festival in a couple of weeks' time. So that's why he's doing the runs. But again, he's going to have another year under the belt. And as you said, Tommy, I wouldn't mind taking a price that the Derby winner ran at Curraheen Park on Saturday night.
I wouldn't mind.
And by God, you have more than 2 or 3 shots at it.
Yeah.
This was an unbelievable card. I would say, I'd go as far as to say, I think this is as good a card I ever saw at Curraheen Park. Like, from start to finish, it was just absolutely amazing. We'll move away now from the Laurels. We wish the best of luck to the 6 sets of connections in the Laurels decider. It's a great final. It really is a cracking final. If you can get to Curraheen Park on Saturday night for the final of the Bar 1 Racing Irish Laurels, it's certainly worth your while. Of course, it will be live on Virgin Media TV as well. But let's talk about the remainder of the card, Tommy. We'll start. Do you know what? We know where we want to go, but let's start with the Bartley. And the Bartley, both odds-on favourites beaten. Lenny's the other Ari, and yet I'm not disappointed with either. I think both, you can sort of make excuses for both, and I'd still have the two of them as the two against the field. But the other Emer once again showed that she's a bit of a class act. This one, she's getting better and better. 28.47 was, by all standards on Saturday night, pretty pedestrian at Curraheen Park. 28.37 from a low profile. And the second heat was also pretty slow, and yet both impressed me. Both are very fast greyhounds, no question about it. Lenny's Tank sort of charged the boxes a bit, and then had to sort of battle into the opening corner. Beano's Yank Dog was on his inside, and just had to work a bit harder. Stays that middle of the wide path, and the other Emer, as we saw from her in the previous week, she's pretty strong. So he was facing an uphill battle. I thought he ran well. I did think he ran well. Not as well as he had done in defeat the previous week, and as well as we think he's capable of going. But it was still a good run by Lenny's Tank in defeat. But the other Emer, we can't sleep on this one. Jennifer O'Donnell is building up a really, really nice team of greyhounds. We never suggested it. Luck was never the strength behind her. She's had some twist over the last few years. She's breeding them herself. They're obviously rearing them exceptionally well, and like, this is another one of the Scooby Princess litter and the Scooby Duchess litter are also flying. So just seems to have an unbelievable amount of wealth at her disposal.
Yeah, this is a tricky one. I definitely agree with that now, but this is a tricky one to kind of get your head around, because Lenny's Tank, as much as you're making a case that Lenny's Tank, things went wrong from, it took over around about the third bend, did he?
Briefly,
but like, so far now the other Emer has had 5 runs. That's her 5th run. So entitled to be strengthened up, but her strength wouldn't be finishing off the race really strongly. On what we've seen so far, I'm not saying she's not getting home, but it's just not her best asset yet.
Yeah.
As she's developing. But she went away from Lenny's Tank. I would be concerned about Lenny's Tank now, looking into next week. I'm thinking got beaten 2.5 lengths. I think having taken over, having turned close enough, shown lovely pace. I don't think that's the Lenny's Tank. I don't think that's Lenny's Tank at his best the other night. I really don't. And it would be concern for me for next week. And I'd be opposing him, thinking the other area is probably a good thing in that final, to be honest about it. But I still have a world of time for Lenny's Tank as a dog. He's one of the fastest dogs in the country. And I'd like to see that. I'd like to see it all put together for him. And maybe Curraheen's very sharp, even though he ran so well and showed himself up in how good he was in the Bar 1 sprint in Dundalk.
I think the key with him is he's yet to really get loose on his own. He's had dogs up his inside, and he does tend to stay wide. He doesn't need any excuses to stay wider. And if he does get room on his own, he probably wouldn't run a wider line around Curraheen. And like, we know he's capable of doing 28 seconds or better.
There's no doubt about that. He's capable of breaking 28 seconds. There's no question that. I just don't think that was him the other night, personally. Yeah. That's maybe I'm wrong. Just because I hold him at a higher level, to be honest about it.
No, I agree. Coulivanny Mally, was the third qualifier there. He lightly raced, has a bit of age on his side, but he is lightly raced. He's only in April. He's in April 23. But that was only his sixth start the other night. He's obviously a useful greyhound, but he'll be a big price in the final, I would suggest. Looking at the second semi-final, the other Ari did lots right. Cramp or just fade, or obviously conditions were okay. Like there was
Mr. Reedy.
hard.
No,
Huh?
no. I was talking to Barry about this. We were on the way to Mallow yesterday. Conditions changed quite a bit during the night. There were occasions during the night, wind and rain and all that sort of stuff. So because I was reading the results as they were going through, and kind of struggling to figure them out a little bit, struggling to figure out the clocks, the sections, the times, how they were being run, and I'm still not because I wasn't there. I'm still not 100% on it, but. The other Ari missed it and showed lovely pace, but we did say last week that there's a bit more from low profile in terms of early pace. Now I don't think that's he didn't show massive early pace the other night doing a 3:38 or anything like that, but he turned second and like the race was effectively over. If you watch the other Ari the previous week, he when he beat Lenny's Tank, he's really paddling the last 25 yards.
Really did, like notably, like he's not even he's not within Nas's roar into the escape, like he's a mile behind him.
No,
which I thought maybe there was a touch of cramp. I don't know. Now I know they've had just one or two little niggles with them. Hope it's not affecting him. My belief is that they feel he's perfectly strong. That down the line, 550 yards won't be an issue for him.
Yeah,
definitely didn't get home the other night. No question about that. But
didn't get home the previous night.
He's going to be a short price to lead in the final.
He did, look at if he breaks, he'd be six clear because of the pace he has. I mean, it's savage. But now, like I say that, and if I felt that Lenny's Tank was at his very best, I'd be saying, well, he won't be six clear because Lenny's Tank showed with Broadstrand Sid in the Sprint Cup that he can go to the bend with the very best of them, the very best of them, in over two bends, let alone over four bends. So I'm just not sure. I was hoping when I watched Lenny's Tank in the first round of this competition, I was going. Yeah, he's going to build towards something special at the final, and it's going to take a couple of runs and whatever else to get him there. I just the other night left me a little bit confused. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he turns up like 100% on Saturday night. Now, it's a hell of a race. It's like, I mean, if you're asking for a supporting race to a classic, this is nearly as good as it gets because, as you said, we mightn't necessarily be talking about this competition, but definitely potential in there to have a Derby winner in that competition, but also in the unrace that was on the same night. So I hope Lenny's Tank is at his very, very best. But to me, I'll have to tip Urari.
Yeah, I'm with you. From trap 3. And outside of the big two, there's not an abundance of early speed around it. Like there are a couple of them can go up well, but there's nothing that can live with the other Ari and Lenny's Tank potentially if he comes away racing.
There's nothing in the Laurels has done a section like the other Ari. 1581 last week, Saturday week. 1581
off at 3:23. That would have been fast at Laurels as well, wouldn't it?
1585 is the best of the Laurels. The 322 has done a couple of them, I think, in the Laurels, but early section. But 1581 is 1585 is the best of the Laurels. 1581 a half length better than them on only your fourth ever run.
Yeah, no,
it tells you like I think you can look and say, like I say, he's paddling home and he did it 2 weeks in a row the other Ari, and if he's in front 3 lengths in front of the second bend next Saturday night, he's probably beaten. But I suspect he'll be further clear down to the third bend. He won't come home strong, but I just love the way they train. The train them.
The thing is, if he is 3 clear at the second bend and it's not Lenny's Tank in second, he'll be 5 clear by the third bend because he's definitely a couple of lengths faster than the remainder, with the exception potentially of Lenny's Tank.
Well, yeah, low profile will be obviously if low profile turns second, he'll probably win it. But like it'll be tougher to turn second. That's what the curiosity was in the race the other night. Going, how did low profile turn on? Like despite the fact that I said last week that I think there's a bit more early pace in him. I don't think he showed particularly early pace with a 3:38, but he managed to get around in second place. And I mean, and the writing was on the wall then. But can he do it again? I'm not sure. I don't know. This is hotter company again. Tire company, and you know what we have to say, Ian, there are some mighty race sorts in there that are going to improve as well, and who knows what they might do early as well. So it's going to be tougher for low profile. I have to be with the other Ari because I think he went back so far in the clock early, it had a huge impact on his run overall.
Yeah, right, that's a great final to look forward to on Saturday night. You know what we also have, Tommy? We have the final of the Horgan's Delicatessen Supplies Mitchell Sound Limited ON1 525, and wow, Like, don't get me wrong. It was pretty clear from the qualifying form that there was going to be some special greyhounds coming out of this. And like, we're nearly skipping over Clan Sapphire, a son of Droopy Sydney out of
Yeah.
Susie, or daughter of Droopy Sydney out of Susie Sapphire, who made a winning debut. She's a September 23. She obviously had seasonal issues or whatnot. She's plenty of trials going back to last March, but she did everything right to win in 28.71 for Howard Wallace and Francie Murray. But yet her run was absolutely wiped off the board by Droopy's Graph and Berlin Trilogy. Firstly, let's talk about Droopy's Graph. Obviously, bred in the purple, a full brother to Droopy's Kathleen from the repeat mating. Two or three of this litter have already proven themselves very, very talented. Unlike some of its comrades, full comrades and full comrades from the previous litter, this fellow showed loads of dash into the opening corner. He seemed to have it everywhere. 28.06, one of the most stunning debuts in the history of Irish Greyhound racing. Not the fastest debut. Could you tell me who is the fastest debut?
I think did Ballymac break 28 seconds? Ballymac, it was a bitch, I'd say, was it?
No, Ballymac Ariel broke it in a qualifying trial.
Oh, qualifying,
She didn't even win her on debut. The fastest, I think the fastest debut in Ireland was Skywork with Canny, who did a 28.03. But this 28.06 was just absolutely breathtaking. I know they think the world of the dog in second. Slippery Brian, it looks a nice talent, but by God, Droopy's Graph is serious.
And the funniest thing about it was Droopy's Graph going into the bend so fast, he went off to about trot 2, and it's not much,
Yeah.
but still enough to check his momentum a little bit as he took the first couple of bends. Probably lost a half a length to a length that might well have been a 27.99 had he had he run it a little tighter. But then after that, he's back on the rail. He's a bit like Solon go off that last bend. Have a look at him again. Like, he's not giving you much there. You're not going up the inside. You're going to get round and you're going to be going wide.
He leads by about 2 lengths into the third bend, and maybe 2.5 lengths.
Yeah,
he wins 6.5.
I know.
It just seems to be everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
you see a pup doing 28.06, and you automatically assume, oh, he's massive early speed. But 16.05 is good, like it's really good, but it's not sensational. But the fact that he's coming home in effectively 12 seconds, that's massive.
And the funniest thing of all is that there was a stable companion was sent off to fight the 4 favourite, the Ken companion, the bitch in 4. What's she doing?
Yeah,
What's she doing in trials?
Half sister to Broadstrand Sid. Yeah, let's just say she won't be a big price next night she runs. The 1740 qualifying trial at Curraheen Park, I think, said it all. Again, this is one of those races, Tommy, where we'll look back at it in 6 months' time and go, oh my God, Slippery Chris was last, or Droopy Croya was in fourth, or Scooby Marquez, another one of the Scooby Duchess litter. She was sent off 6-4. So after a 28.50 odd qualifying trial. So clearly a very exciting bunch. And then we get to the last of the 3 heats, the 3 semi-finals, and Ballymac Petsy, the dam of this Berlin trilogy. I'll be honest, her previous litters didn't blow me away. And I was a bit disappointed given how talented she was. Well, by God, she's probably making up for it because this this fella looks like absolutely serious. Obviously, a son of Droopy Sydney, 322, 28.12, and they couldn't get near him.
It was beast mode is what it was. It was just perfect racing. It's just with power pack stuff. It was explosive as what it was. I think that's my kind of word for a little bit more than you'd expect in normal circumstances from any greyhound. It was. I mean, the runner up ran a cracking race. It was a bit of a nice.
Looks really strong. Looks like a real really proper good Liam Dowling greyhound. This fella could be anything. Like, he could be the 550-yard champion next year.
Yeah, 100%. But the winner. Berlin trilogy, it looked so much more mature than it could possibly have been. That's what I say about it. Like, and it's February 24 as well. Like, it's and I was like you, Ian. I spent the day yesterday when I was had a bit of time looking through these results and watching videos. I was looking up the breeding as well and Ballymac Petsy, and I was thinking I was expecting a bit more down the line. You know what I mean? Down the line of I was the same as you. It's funny you say that because I don't class myself as being a genius and that sort of stuff. But I just looking at it, going, expecting more. When I saw this, I was going, my God, this she must have plenty of stars in the line. he's like you said it, Ian, it might have been the best card ever in Curraheen Park. Maybe it was. It was just the quality. And what do we get to look forward to for next Saturday night? I mean, you know, sometimes I say it's difficult. It's difficult when you're going racing to a track you don't really know, right? For anybody who might be a regular in Curraheen Park and come down there. But actually, this time you got races you just got to have a look at, because these will be in Shelbourne Park at the very biggest days next year. They'll probably be back for Laurels next year. There'll be
Berlin Trilogy. He does a 3:22, a 15:95. Stick him in Trap One, the Laurels next Saturday night. He could have been a 6-4 chance. You know what I mean? Like it's remarkable.
But like you could mix the races and put himself in the other area inside the Laurels final there for the crack, and make it an 8-dog race and just see how we get on. And it was just like This is some of these would be good enough too to be in the Bar One Sprint Cup next year as well, and leading on to Derby and Laurels and Ledgers and everything else after. It's proper Greyhound racing at the moment.
Owned by Mark and Michael O'Donovan. Yeah, I assume he'd be for sale, but I wouldn't be expecting to be getting him cheap. Ballymac Iroko, again, a real eye catcher in second spot.
Yeah.
Tom looks a really bright prospect, and Orchid sent back in third spot. Again, like this unraced stake on Laurel's final night, it's come under different names over the years. My God, it's thrown some proper greyhounds, hasn't it?
Oh, it really has, and it's tell you what, I remember over the years when it was the Jerry Henry Memorial, I think was this. It was dogs doing 28-10, 28-20 in first rounds and all this, but even something about this feels even bigger and more special. I don't know, something about this quality of it. But we have said over the last few years in particular, we talked about it quite a bit. And you've heard when other people have been interviewing trainers how much they talk about now how they go to Curraheen Park a lot. So it's not a surprise that it's
here we go, right?
This is a combination of that. They go to Curraheen Park to trial. They like the track. They love the way it's been maintained, the way it runs on a consistent basis. So it's not a surprise. This is good. This is good. But I'd say I don't know that they've ever had better weeks, numerous weeks of racing like they've had in Curraheen Park recently. It's just a joy.
Yeah, no, absolute joy. We haven't even mentioned the bitch stake at the end of the card. I thought it was a pretty statement-like display by Scarlett Ella. She set the standard with a 28-13 return. She had a 28-09 trial recently at Curraheen Park, so probably not a surprise. But if you look through the rest of her cards, she was always pretty useful. She's had, where are we looking at now? 11, 15. She's had 20 starts now. It only seems like in the last few weeks that things have really started to click with her. Like that was Ballymac Mint. She ran past down the back straight. Like Ballymac Mint is a 28-20 runner in Shelbourne Park every week of the year. I thought this was a massive run. Wins 5 lengths, 28-13. Very, very impressive. Her back Guilfoyle, Alice Guilfoyle, Thomas Ryan have a real one here. You'd imagine she's destined for the breeding paddocks in the future, but my God, they can have some sport with her before then.
Oh, and on that performance, no doubt, it was a great display. Nice to see Michael Wren, who has a Laurels finalist, obviously having the runner up there as well, Steep Road Amber.
The second heat went to Desert Flower, got up to win by, held on by a short head from Scrahan Lady for Kieran Lynch, of course. A decent enough card, but will be a decent enough price, I'd assume, in the final. And then the last heat going to the much mentioned Glengar Martha on this platform. She just is a star. First time back at a track, you could just bet her for pounds, shillings, and pence. She's 4-7. There are one or two odds-on punters at Curraheen Park. I'd say a few got stuck into this lady.
There are a few of them there, all right, and they definitely would if she's just a star. I mean, if you haven't been watching and enjoying her for the last, it feels like about 5 years. It's about two and a half.
It's been a while. Like she's now 4 years of age. She's gone past 4 years of age.
It feels like a lot more than 4 years, to be honest.
And in many ways, probably running as well as she's ever done.
How long? When did she make her debut? Probably a little over 2 years ago, is it?
Oh yeah,
she's doing 28-10s and 28-17s and 28 this sort of stuff for fun at the moment.
Yeah, March 13, 2023. So she does 28-79 around Enniscorthy on debut. It was pretty clear from early she could run.
She could run. Right.
That was in the final of the Future Champion the Alpha stake, the Michael Fortune Memorial down at Curraheen or in Enniscorthy. She ended up finishing fourth in the final, but let's just say she's made up for it since. Remarkable performer. Just an unbelievable card at Curraheen on Saturday night. We look forward to the final of the Laurels, the final of the Bartley, and of course the final of the Knockeen Dazzler at Stud Open Pitch 525, and the final of that unraced stake. And funny enough, that's the race you'd imagine a lot of people would be talking about before racing. It's strange the way we are, but when we're talking about young dogs, people get more excited. It's a strange thing. They're not even that much younger than some of the dogs running in the Laurels. You know, you have two January whelps in the Laurels final. Like they could well have been in a different time, running in that unraced stake, but here they are in the Laurels final. So yeah, just loads to look forward to at Curraheen on Saturday night. If you can get there, certainly worth your while. Again, it'll be live on Virgin Media TV. Tommy, you'll be there on Saturday night?
I certainly will.
I hope so, because you're giving me a lift.
And apparently buying the drink as well. But
Let's move on. Shelburne Park on Saturday night, we saw a brilliant winner of the Paddy Merriman Memorial for a fella called Liam Dowling. Liam Dowling. I think he has a future in the game, Tommy. This fella, he's not bad with a dog. It just so happens that it was the third leg of a very quick treble, because the previous two races to the final of the Paddy Merriman Memorial were the last two heats of the Gourmet Island Puppy Oaks, won by Ballymac Chantry in 27.92, Ballymac Kamala in 28.09, and then Ballymac Gloria running around in a positively pedestrian 28.13. Just a stunning half an hour for Liam Dowling. And then few minutes after that, he would win the opening heat of the Laurels and get three dogs into the final. So a pretty satisfying hour and a half, I'd imagine, for Liam Dowling on Saturday night. But let's talk about this Ballymac Gloria. We had hinted last week that something's after clicking with her. You know, she's had the 6 or 7 starts now, and week on week she just seems to be getting better. 28.13 the other night. Track wasn't great, Nick. They raised it at 25 fast. I'm not sure if it was 25 fast compared to how it would normally be. It seemed a little bit of an overreaction, but she did everything right. She had to show good early speed up the inside. She held Magical Max and Advantage Rule into the opening bend, and once doing so, that was it. Game over, down to the wire. Showed loads of pace into the second spot. Got a little bit held up at the third bend. Wasn't going to make up the 4-length gap though. And Ballymac Gloria goes now up into top company. She's only a May 24, and again, there's no real ceiling to where she could go.
No, and the 207 is again an improvement on the pace that the early pace she's shown previously. She's remember that later with the Ballymac Cooper, Ballymac Wisdom, who had the 27.92 winner earlier, Ballymac Chantry earlier in the night. Just like the thing about this is she's so little racing done again, 6 or 7 races. Like there's more to come. I don't know. We talked about how, like, was it around about this time last year? Maybe it was early this year where Liam, like, you didn't see the pups coming through, and like he wasn't being a huge factor in some of the pups racing.
It was only a matter of weeks ago you said that to me, Tommy, and like on cue, bang, 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 bang.
Yeah, but then we were talking about that, and all of a sudden, just then in the last few weeks they just started to come out like one after the other, star after star. I mean, even look at Ballymac Chantry, the litter sister to Ballymac Gloria. The trial. Look at the last trial, Ian, before that run was against two. Ballymac Rocco. Rocco ran in the unraced below in Curraheen Park the other night. They have that many good ones now, they don't know where to run them. They're gonna have to you know what they're gonna have to do? They're gonna have to add an extra track in Ireland just to keep Liam's dogs at the moment. His pups give his pups chances. They are, I don't know. It's funny. It's funny how these things happen. They seem to come in waves. This is like a tsunami at the moment of Liam's dogs.
Yeah. That Ballymac Gloria, we look forward to where she goes.
Oh yeah,
And like, it's funny, you know, she does 28.13, win the 10 grand competition. Be it's an A1 competition only in name. Not too many of them will be an A1 company going forward. But she could go anywhere. She could be anything in time. And yes, she's probably not even the fastest in her litter. Ballymac Wisdom, the dam, I remember her last ever start was over 1,000 yards. She won over every distance. I'd say she won 525, 550, 575, 600. She won 750s. She didn't win over the 1,000 yards. She didn't get home, but they did have a go. And here she is throwing bitches with tremendous early speed. And in the case of Ballymac Chantry, while she did go to the corner very, very well indeed in the second heat of the Gourmet Island Puppy Oaks, she took a straight right turn from trap 1. I'm glad to say she's drawn out in 5 the next night. But if you actually look at her third bend sectional, It's good, but she came home at 11.95.
Right.
That's like that's unheard of. Like that's absolutely exceptional. Like you cannot stress how good that is. Like you're talking about dogs coming home in 12.10s and 12.12s, and you're going, wow, he's an absolute flying machine from halfway. This lady came home in sub 12 seconds. And I know the track wasn't great, Nick, but by God, that was some run. Now, there's no question if you're backing her to flash out a box and lead every night, you're going
Yeah.
to go pretty
Yeah.
poor pretty rapidly because that won't be her game going forward. I imagine she's capable of trapping, no question, but her real strength, and it is her strength. But it was an exceptional run, 27.92, Tommy. Just the way she finished off her race was just a joy to watch.
Yeah, it really was. It's deeply impressive. It'd be a nice little headache for Liam to figure out how to separate these or how to get them in the right competition, give them all the best chance to win whatever they're going to be in. Because at the moment he's got like that wealth of talent there. How
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you're like if you're looking at them in the morning and you're going, how the hell do I separate? Where do we go? Where do you go with all these? How do I do? Do I have to start looking at sections or something? It wouldn't be the way I'd like to do it, but you have to find some way to break them up and go. This is the
He's,
exact.
he's gone to the stage where he's like Aidan O'Brien. He's actually thinking of entering pacemakers.
Yeah, I'd say he'd be the first. He'd be the first Greyhound racing trainer in Ireland to have a racing manager. Just,
Yeah.
just, just to sort it all out. Just to sort everything out. He'd be
His
doing
name is
the
Shane.
whole
His
lot.
name is Shane.
No, no,
Or Helen.
they're too busy. They're too busy training these greyhounds.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. Funnily enough, 15 minutes later, he had another nice winner. Ballymac Kamala.
Yeah,
This lady, a member of a fast litter, Droopy Sydney out of Ballymac Pete. I just looked at this litter the other day.
right.
Ballymac Kamala, obviously enough. 28.09 the other night. Ballymac Lake, 28 second run around Shelburne Park. Ballymac Stud, amongst the favourites for next year's Derby, a dog who I backed for this year's Derby. Hackney Matty won in 28.35 last week at Shelburne Park. No luck on Saturday night. Lawn Calling, the bitch that ran in the Puppy Oaks the other night, she's 28.14 around Waterford. Looks a serious tool. And another dog called Underground Arlo, who I said, oh, I've never heard of him. Oh, that's Lone Venom, 28.33 in Clonmel. And they're now talking about him. There was a big piece of them in the Racing Post the other day about this dog has been aimed at the Derby next year in well, Toaster or Dunstall Park, wherever it's going to be. So they're the six dogs listed in the litter. Not a bad litter. In terms of overall depth and quality, they don't get much better. This Ballymac Kamala, she had a bit more experience than most of the bitches in the Puppy Oaks. She had won the Kerry Hospital stake down in Tralee in a fast time, 28.19. It was an A2 competition, but again, it was an A2 in name only. She ran well in the early rounds of the Irish Sprint Cup, but she had that bit of experience behind her. Didn't really matter because she did a 198. She goes to the third bend in 15.74, Tommy, which is up there with like that. That's the sort of Bocco's Diamond Broadstrand Sid sort of clocks you'd expect. You know what I mean? This it was unbelievable, deeply impressive to the third bend. Obviously, she's not coming home as fast as her kennel companion because she does 28.09, but a massive run. And you know, Puppy Oaks are generally not one from off the pace. You know,
I,
this lady has put herself right in the reckoning of this competition.
I loved her line the other day. The line she ran, um, because it's a line that she's thinking about how she's going to run the first bend. When she does, she's basically setting herself up for the bend to drive
Mm.
hard at it to try catch that lure. Like she is hunting it mad altogether. Loved the performance because you can see the intent in her. The way she's eyeing up the lure is impressive. You don't get it all the time. Sometimes your dogs you just want to be inside, some want to be outside, some just have to have rails or whatever. She's actually trying to line it up for herself. She
Yeah.
is absolutely hunting it into the ground. It's impressive to watch. I love the performance.
Uh,
But I said that about most of them the other night. It was just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But it was,
Behind her, I thought there was some notable performances, right?
yeah,
Obviously, Ballydoyle Tina came through for second spot in her only her second career start. I think they think the world of this lady, and I
yeah.
can see why. I think there's much better to come from her. Ballymac Altabel finished at a rate of knots. Like if she doesn't make a star stare, I'll be amazed. She anything over six bends, and I have to mention Carragoon Bria. You know, she was an 8-1 chance. You look at the bare form and go, oh, she ran okay. She does 28.74. That's minus plus the 25 that is. So she's doing 28, what, 49. She's still on the coattails of the leader at halfway. Like the leader's doing 15.74. She's
Yeah,
one I definitely keep on my radar. Noel Casey has her. It was her first run at Shelburne Park. She did a 28.80 trial, 28.91 trial at Shelburne. The other night she went quicker than that. She has a 28.38, 28.28, should I say, on her card at Curraheen Park. She's 28.38. I'd suggest this is one to keep an eye on.
yeah. I think at the third bend, third and fourth bend, between around the two bends, last two bends, seemed to just lose a length very quickly. Whatever it was, slightly
Yeah.
misstep or something. It was something very small. It was an even better run than you're suggesting. Even you're saying, like, in terms on the clock it was. So I agree with you 100%. I would say, I would say with Ballymacaltabel, actually, just for a second. I wouldn't like to be the one in front if Ballymacaltabel ever happens to turn second. But it's just those 25 yards into the bend are really putting her on the back foot, because she's actually breaking out of traps well every night. She's not even that far out of the box, behind out of boxes, but it's just that run into the bend. She's just losing so much position.
Yeah.
But my God,
Into the fifth turn, or the first turn after the line, she did an Arazi. She ran
yeah,
right by him. Like, it was just unbelievable. She could
like
be anything over further.
it'll be that. Yeah, but look, I tell you what, some of them have to run over further, for God's sake,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
like, I
that
mean,
is
I
true.
mean, we have a Liam Dowling Laurels final with three of the six finals, and Liam Dowling's again. We could have six in some final next year.
We do. We're looking through the rest of the card, and while these three or four bitches in a row, we didn't mention Mill Abbey Roxy. She was very impressive in the opening heat. Not everything went her way. She was getting a few bumps early. She shook off the challenges of I'm Not Cynical, and I thought showed good determination down at the third bend. It's something I've said a bit to myself over the last 2 or 3 months. The Dearjet Sydneys. I've seen a few handfuls of them now at this stage. They don't mind getting stuck in. They really they if it gets into a battle, they're not going to come out on the wrong side too often. I really like them. I think there's a real doggedness in them. They just put the head down and go. And this Mel Abbey Roxy, a really good winner for Mark Robinson, who had a couple of good nights. He had a very nice youngster win at Shelburne Park on the was it the Friday night? Yeah, Friday night. The bad night was the Thursday. Yeah, Friday night. Really good young dog. Made his career start. Uncle Keith. Certainly a dog to keep an eye on, as were two or three of the dogs in behind him. But this Milabi Roxy, Tommy, thought ran really well. Good Katie completely missed the kick by her standards. She was favoured to win the competition. It's a bit open more. It's a bit more open now in terms of the two subsequent winners going so fast. But good Katie, much better to come from here. I actually thought she ran well in defeat.
Yeah, but the winner had a race and a half. What I mean by that is, like, it was competitive right away, having to battle hard for position
Mm.
early to try get around. As you said, Deirdre Sydney just wants to drove everywhere in that race to try to get in front. The fact it was a 28.60, you're not surprised. There was so much hard work involved in it, in terms of trying to. It was an actual Greyhound race. It was never a race against the clock. Like some of them were when they were out and clear and whatever else. That was a different type of race, but impressive all the same.
Yeah, a night of big runs at Shelburne Park. As I said, you had those four runs, the three heats of the Puppy Oaks and the final of the Paddy Mary Memorial, all won in very fine fashion by young ladies. And then, just to back it up, the subsequent Open 525, the eighth race in the card just after the Paddy Merriman Memorial, went to another very lightly raced youngster, Sing Along Polly. She's actually gone 2 years of age, but she's only had a handful of races. It was only her fifth career start. She wins in 28.11 off the front for Gilbert Anderson and Pat Buckley. So a great night for the ladies at Shelburne Park on Saturday. Harry Houdini won the ninth, and Shotgun Des looks a really nice prospect in the final race in the card for Pat Muldoon, Molly Muldoon, and trainer Graham Holland. He didn't fly out of boxes, but showed great early speed to get up the inside of Droopy's map. Went on to win in 28.20 on the Shelburne debut. Lots to like about him. Just don't be surprised if you hear much more of him. And the opener on the card was won by Boyle Sports Blue in 30.88. Also a couple of good runs there from Paul's Pick and Riptide Troika, two that came from off the pace to win their respective races. Great racing at Shelburne Park on Saturday night. Not quite perhaps as good as it was at Curraheen, but it wasn't too far off it. Some stunning performances. We look forward now to the second round, the semi-finals of the Gormy Island Puppy Oaks on Saturday night. That's turning into a really hot competition. There's some really bright prospects in there. Keep an eye out for all those left in the competition, because there's there's more to come from some of them, no question about it. Tommy, just want to touch on the Fair Warrior. The fastest heat winner on Saturday night was Gem Friendly, a good winner for Vince McKenna. The slowest of the heat winners, funnily enough, was Stefan's Galaxy. I still believe he's the Greyhound to beat. He was racing from trap 6, edging all the way into the opening corner. Took, I'd say, about 6 bumps. Now, mainly
Yeah.
of his own making, but for him to still get to the corner in front and go on and win in 21:51, you could take 3 or 4 lengths off that pretty handy. I've no doubt he's capable of doing a
Mm.
21:50 around Mullingar. You're doing 21:15. You're not going to be beaten too often. Gem Friendly did a 21:24, a hell of a run. Certain Drippy Sydney out of Susie Sapphire. So the pedigree is there. Valderrama won in 21:50. Just a thorough professional for Martin Lally. Never runs a bad race. He seems to be around a long, long time. He's 3.5 years of age. And Defender, a good winner of the opening heat. I don't know how it won. It was off the pace for much of the way. It was still lengths off the pace with about 50 yards to go and managed to get up the inside. Strange things happen into that line at the third bend in Mullingar in the sprint, but Defender, a good winner for Francie and Kathleen Murray, winning in 21:48. Cracking Fair Warrior, no question about it. But as I said, I believe Stefan's Galaxy is the one to beat. Any other business, Tommy, before we let you go?
No, we have so much on at the moment, Dean. It's insane, but it's all good quality.
Yeah, all great quality. One more thing we should mention it as well. Forgot about it, was the Lifford Oaks. The Lifford Oaks on Saturday night went the way of Magical Mag. She had tied up badly in her semi-final, made no mistakes on Saturday night. She got there. She won by a half length.
Didn't see it, Ian, but
No,
I do.
nor have I yet. I
Yeah.
will be seeing it very shortly. I'll be doing a review for the Irish Focus on sisracing.tv. So we will talk about it. I assume she hit the front and Hackney Tango was coming at her. You know what they say about assumption. But great to see a good competition at Lifford. Well done to all for making it happen, and long may it continue. Any other business, Tommy?
If there is, Ian, we'll have to find another podcast for it because it's there's so much to talk about at the moment between
Yeah.
Curraheen, Shelburne, and Fair Warriors and Mullingar and the whole lot.
Yeah, don't want to finish on a sad note, but we do have to mention the passing of a couple of men that were steeped in greyhound racing. Donald Riley passed away sadly in Beijing in China today. A brother to Ian Riley, of course, son of Danny Riley, who was a long time sponsor of the the Easter Cup and prominent greyhound owner for many years. A board member, of course, himself. Donald himself had sponsored the Easter Cup on a couple of occasions. Very sad to hear that. And only this morning I heard that Martin Fortune, a great friend to many of us, what a character he was. He had a real go at Shelburne Park. I remember it was about 15-20 years ago, and he was trying to get 100 winners in a year. And I'm not sure if he did achieve it. I can't remember. But by God, he had some crack. I only spoke to Martin, I'd say 6 or 8 months ago. He had a great winner at Shelburne Park. He was delighted with himself, delighted with life. But sadly passed away over the weekend. We send on our regards to the Riley and to the Fortune families. No relation, Martin, but a great character. And sorry to end on a sad note, Tommy, but I'm afraid they both deserve the mention.
Of course they did. Yeah, sure, great greyhound people.
Yeah. Tommy, best of luck. I shall see you at Curraheen Park on Saturday night. I'm sure we'll have lots to catch up on, lots to talk about. We may even have a drink. I know you owe me one because
Yeah.
I got my prediction right last week. But that's it. That's it for us Talking Dogs on this Monday evening. We will be back in a week's time when we will be discussing the final of the Bar 1 Racing Irish Laurels. Let's hope that they all come off safe and sound. Let's hope for a great final, and best of luck to anyone involved in any of these 6 finalists. A cracking renewal of the Bar 1 Racing Irish Laurels. We look forward to it at Curraheen Park on Saturday night. As I've said, if you can get there, well worth your while. But that's it from us this evening. My again thanks to the exiled one, Tommy Lyons, and of course to Kieran Burke, who was with us earlier on from the sponsors, Bar 1 Racing. But that's it. We'll see you next time. Good luck, good evening. God bless.
This podcast was brought to you by Greyhound Racing Ireland.